Speaking of pigskin, Donald Trump, in his ongoing effort to distract us from the fact that he doesn't want Melania to see the Epstein files, went after Rosie O'Donnell again. She said the president looked great and presidential alongside our stunning First Lady, who was, as usual, dressed perfectly for the occasion. And she's right about Melania. I don't know about stunning, but she definitely looks stunned. Show them together, because this is the happiest I've ever seen these two together. It's like they're on their...
Trump envisioned himself as a political titan, a statesman, and a person who would be etched into marble by history. He is a walking comedy special instead, a man whose greatest contribution is not policy, but punchlines. As she stood by his side, Melania pictured herself as the epitome of elegance and grace. Instead, she has chosen to play a hesitant extra in a sitcom for which she did not try out. One chuckle at a moment, they collectively represent a reality show presidency that Kimmel turns into late-night fuel.
With Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, who all sat there and applauded while he sucked down lobsters like a walrus. It was a big night for Trump. This is the first meal he's had in like 5 years that didn't have the words extra value in front of it. Imagine, he sends in the National Guard. There are hundreds of troops on the street, and somehow they let a 34-time convicted felon just waltz into a restaurant. No question. Trump's infamous Diet Coke button is back. He's also got, this time he's got a chalupa cannon and a McNugget knob, too. And he has another little button to lock the door when he hears Elon coming. Elon Musk reportedly badgered Trump into giving him an office in the West Wing. It's kind of a tough situation for Trump because, on the one hand, you know he can't stand this guy. On the other hand, he needs his money. It's what they call a Melania's dilemma.
Please click the bell symbol and subscribe to the channel if you like this video. When the reality is already ludicrous, Kimmel doesn't spend any time making up insults. Trump portrays himself as a brilliant negotiator, but it appears that he only makes agreements with himself, promising greatness but delivering disaster. Melania is presented as a contemporary Jackie O, yet the facade disintegrates when she exudes the excitement of someone unable to leave a weekend seminar at every public engagement. Their paradoxes are more obvious than their catchphrases. Additionally, Kimmel uses surgical precision to magnify every error.
I share this. I'd like to remind you, this is a post from the President of the United States. He wrote, as previously mentioned, we are giving serious thought to taking away Rosie's citizenship. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so. Here's the thing. Whenever he's spitting out, he goes back to Rosie. That's his safe space. He zeroes out. Calling her fat is what makes him comfortable. Meanwhile, she's about half.
Every speech that Trump gives is interpreted as being purposefully sabotaged by the teleprompter. With the assurance of someone who is certain that his audience is memoryless, he sells snake oil and brags about his achievements like a carnival barker. Kimmel doesn't have to come up with a joke. The humor is that Trump is praising himself while avoiding responsibility. Melania sits close by, looking like a flight attendant who has been asked to perform her 8th straight shift. She smiles faintly and is obviously pleading for someone to land the aircraft.
She seems to have other interests, too, because this morning she announced a contest, the likes of which have never been seen in this country before.
Thank you so much for congratulations on birthday. I am touched and so smiling. And now you can be touched too. Introducing new contest. America's next top First Lady wife.
When viewed from Kimmel's perspective, the myth of Trump as the unrelenting warrior vanishes. He appears to be a man trying out for acclaim rather than a warrior, hammering his chest and privately praying the critics don't look at the receipts. Long silences, icy looks, and well-chosen remarks that imply anything but solidarity replace Melania's purported role as a strong First Lady. It is not necessary for Kimmel to set them against one another. It is their own lack of chemistry.
This photo he posted looks really more like him than her. Rosie O'Donnell. How can someone so old be so childish? It's Benjamin can't button his pants. You know, we talk about how much time Trump wastes playing golf. He seems to be spending a lot more time posting dumb AI videos lately. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, has been roasting him online, and so now Trump's
fixation with ratings and crowd sizes, which he regards as sacred while ignoring facts that truly influence people's lives, heightens the humor. Kimmel makes fun of the idea of a sitting president boasting about attendance numbers, akin to a band that denies their tour is a bombing. Melania's contribution to these occasions is frequently a forced smile or a half-hearted clap that would be appropriate for a wax museum. The awkwardness of a mismatched pair attempting to maintain appearances is hidden beneath their combined magnificence.
China and North Korea combined. He's got a lot of tough talk. He posted the following words. He posted, "Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War." And then, when a reporter dared to ask him about it, he shouted her down like she was his son Eric peeing in the pool again.
Mr. President, are you trying to go to war with Chicago?
Fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would
I don't
the
go to
Department
war.
of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill.
Kimmel turns Trump's bankruptcies into recurring jokes, mocking his purported financial prowess. The king of bankrupt casinos exposes the mogul persona, a man who is more famous for the downfall of his corporate empire than for its development. Melania then participates in the act by posing next to him in pictures that are more about the props than the collaboration. Their display of wealth seems more like costume jewelry than real money, gleaming from afar yet dull up close. It's almost theatrical when Melania participates in these outbursts. Her meticulously neutral facial expressions were read as quiet tryouts for a completely other part. Instead, the purported image of unity is one of subdued resignation.
Last night, he posted a whole string of deep fakes, including these.
Hey, look at this! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! My God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump!
Yeah, that's what he was meant to do, repost videos with his head pasted on a man whose thighs don't...
Trump's never-ending disputes are a good place to start. Kimmel makes fun of his picking technique. Adversaries with the zeal of a toddler selecting rivals in a computer game, claiming victory even when no one else is participating. Melania is frequently drawn into these conflicts not as a strategist, but rather as a supporting character and a reminder that, despite the fact that it sometimes feels like theater, the performance is meant to appear like family. Because the pandemonium is self-inflicted, but is being portrayed as victory, the laughter falls. Trump's ironic communication style offers a wealth of material. Despite his incoherence, rambling, and insistence that the impossible is inevitable, he nonetheless manages to leave his admirers gasping, as the rest of the world looks on in shock. According to Kimmel, this is the art of confusion, a flow of ideas that would be disapproved of in any creative writing course. In these situations, Melania frequently plays the part of someone who didn't sign up for the improv show. She must, however, nod in agreement as if the absurdity makes sense.
Position as Donald's wife. But now it is time to pass torch to new partner. This could be you, but you must fit following requirement. Beautiful in face and body. Wear fancy hat. Don't give a about Christmas stuff.
Who gives a about Christmas stuff?
Feed Eric little mealworm pellet every day. Read book to the children. Thank you, America. Now I give you 2 weeks notice until time I am leaving on Air Slovenia blimp. Have good marriage. Do not text or call, you will not find me. Congratulations to next America's next top first lady wife. Be best, bitches.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
You know what? He's getting out just in time.
Even their attempts to come together turn into jokes. The times of hand-holding, Melania's obvious resistance or averting her gaze when captured on video are reenacted as symbolic gaffes. Desperate to appear close, Trump tries to show affection, but Melania gives him the cold shoulder of the century. Kimmel doesn't need to go overboard. It's already suitable for a sitcom. The crowd laughs because it's so obvious, not because it's cruel, that the alleged first couple exudes less warmth than a late-night convenience store. Trump's obsession with changing history turns into a hilarious joke. Melania, frequently positioned, appears more like an unwilling editor forced into a tale she doesn't want to publish, despite being a silent advocate of similar storylines. No joke can lessen the impact of the obvious discrepancy between claim and reality.
Saturday, Francis Ford Coppola posted this AI-generated image of himself to celebrate his invasion of Chicago. Someone made this and called it Chipocalypse Now with the caption, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." This is normal, right? Both sides do this. So you remember when Obama declared war on Orlando? Totally normal. You know, For a guy who dodged the draft, he sure does love fake pictures of himself in battle gear. He's a real AI Joe when it comes to the internet.
Trump's image as a cultural rescuer crumbles in the face of mockery. He frames himself as the defender of custom. However, his presidency appears to be more of a norm demolishment derby. He becomes a parody of authority, someone who confuses noise for vision, according to Kimmel. The circus ignores Melania's efforts to uphold her dignity. Her husband's cacophony overpowered her well-curated image. When combined, they sound like a duet in which one vocalist is completely off pitch and the other has ceased singing. Kimmel finds Trump's connection with loyalty amusing. He makes constant demands but provides little in return, dismissing comrades as soon as they become useless. Kimmel makes fun of the extravagant empty motions, planned picture ops, and handshakes were all marketed as innovations. These scenes, in which the main actor forgets his lines, are reenacted as uncomfortable school plays. Melania frequently acts as an unwelcome extra in the background, with her expensive clothing carrying the majority of the load as the conversation veers. The humor arises from the theater's bleakness rather than from exaggeration.
As is tradition, except for 4 years ago when Trump refused to do it, the outgoing first couple welcomed the incoming president and first lady, which was interesting to watch. Trump actually got involved in Melania's outfit for this ceremony. A lot of people are talking about it. He told her he thought it would be super hot if she dressed like a goth Al Capone. And so she did. We found Carmen Sandiego.
The notion that Trump embodies unwavering confidence is undermined by comfort. Every public argument and every inflated assertion of greatness are manifestations of his fears. Kimmel asserts that he is made of steel and likens him to a man constructing a house of cards. Melania's austere yet aloof presence simply serves to emphasize how ridiculous it is. When one spouse is always yelling while the other hardly engages, the image of unity turns into a study in disconnection. They even make fun of their presidency's appearance, the extravagant entrances, the gold-plated sets, and the fixation on grandeur. Everything seems like a theatrical production that is overly determined to make an impression. Kimmel mocks Trump's persona as a pretender to the throne, transforming castles into jokes. Although Melania wants to be seen as elegant, her term is characterized by obvious discomfiture and detachment. Kimmel repeatedly emphasizes this point. Their aspirations and reality diverge so greatly that a circus tent might pass through it, and laughter is the only thing that can fill the void.
After Chicago, he has declared Chicago to be the world's most dangerous city. That, of course, is based on statistics gathered by the worm inside RFK Jr.'s head. There are many cities with higher murder rates than Chicago, from red states, by the way, but you don't see him sending the National Guard in there. So far, Trump has been tougher on Chicago, LA, and Washington, D.C. than Russia, China, and North Korea.
This takedown's genius is found in how little work it takes. Trump's. Melania's aloofness is the blank canvas that makes every moment seem much more difficult, and ego is a factory line that produces bloopers. You don't obtain strength or grace when you combine them. One partner is frantically attempting to take center stage in this uneven stage production, while the other silently hopes that the curtain will drop before anyone realizes she's still there. The fight is more than just amusing. Both personalities are simultaneously undermined by this ridiculous theater. Every word, action, and meticulously staged snapshot turns into ammunition. These are not infrequent slips or mishaps. They follow such recurring patterns that each appearance seems predetermined by a humorous author with a penchant for irony. The president sees himself as the embodiment of power, yet every attempt at projection fails due to its inherent fallacies. The First Lady makes an effort to seem mysterious. The secret is simply detachment, so obvious that it turns into yet another joke. Kimmel doesn't even have to say anything. Since the content is already begging to be mocked, the laughing automatically grows.
She just wrote a book called Melania. Go out and buy it. It's great. And if she says bad things about me, I'll call you all up and I'll say, don't buy it. Get rid of it.
Sounds like things are solid at home. I mean, you said 2 times, you said he hasn't read his wife's book. He's too busy. Not so busy he can't play golf on Sunday, but very, very busy. And even though he hasn't read it, he knows it's great. Unless it isn't, in which case he will destroy her. He lies about everything all the time. He couldn't tell one more lie about his wife's book. Read it, loved it. Was that so difficult?
The roast plays out like a magic performance. The delusion of authority is displayed all of their bluster. However, as the curtain is drawn back, a guy who is constantly contradicting himself and a woman who appears to be hating every moment she spends on stage are revealed. The show crumbles under its own weight, leaving behind a portrayal of frailty posing as greatness rather than authority or respect. An image gets more cartoonish the harder they strive to create it. Trump does not leave behind the powerful legacy he had envisioned. When Kimmel stitches together his late-night highlights, he's left with a blooper reel of narcissism. Melania is recognized not for her grace, but more for her awkward silence, which turned into the most boisterous aspect of her act. They aren't considered to be admirable. They insist on presenting a never-ending satire in which they falter as characters. What could have been revered is reduced to spectacle, and what could have been iconic is turned into farce. For this reason, the damage is irreversible. Since opponents can be fired, no enraged opponent could strike this deeply. However, laughing cannot. The ultimate punchline is that they insisted on performing, which rendered the attack superfluous, not that they were attacked. History documents them as they truly were, not as they would have preferred. The main characters in a comedy that nobody intended to write.